Hello learners, and welcome to part 2 of Tribes of Uttar Pradesh. We shall continue with the session, and we have been doing about the tribes in Uttar Pradesh. Before this we did about the tribes found in Uttarakhand as well as in Rajasthan. Now in the session, before we move ahead, I would like to have a small recap. We studied that Uttar Pradesh is India's most populous state, and we also mentioned that it is the world's most populous sub-national entity. Now we also have talked that tribes of Uttar Pradesh form an integral part and live with the distinct cultures of their own. In the previous session, we highlighted that the Tharu, Jwansari, Raji, Bhotia, Gonds and Boksas are the 6 major tribes of Uttar Pradesh, and we studied about some of the tribes, and we will continue about the other tribes in today's session. We also mentioned that tribals are found mostly in the present states of Uttarakhand, the 6 tribes that we mentioned about, and the tribal population of Uttar Pradesh mostly hails from the hilly regions of Uttar Pradesh. We also mentioned that the Jwansari tribes occupy the major portion numerically in the state and claims their lineage to both the Rajputs and the Brahmins. And apart from this, we also mentioned that the Boksa, Tharu, Bhotia, Raji and the Jwansari dwell in the sensitive border areas and have been given the scheduled tribe status by the Constitution of India. And with this we continued and mentioned that the tribes of Uttar Pradesh have their own religious beliefs and faiths, but interestingly they also worship many of the Hindu gods and goddesses. The tribes of Uttar Pradesh follows a patrilineal and patriarchal structure of society, and yet the women of the tribal society enjoy a dominant status within their society have also been mentioned. And we also mentioned in detail about the Buksa tribes, where we talked about the fact that the Buksa tribes are concentrated in several districts located in the southwestern part of the state of Uttar Pradesh, and they have a population of approximately little more than 4,000. And we also mentioned about the Gonds, who are a Dravidian tribe, and we mentioned that the term Gonds refers to tribal people who live all over India's Deccan Peninsula. And we studied about the society of the Gonds, where we also studied about the religion amongst the Gond. We also studied about the rites of passage within the Gond community, the family life of the Gonds, and the clothing, where we mentioned that the Gonds' clothing are not very expensive, and it is a very typical kind of dressing where the women wear a sari and a choli, where the men wear a dhoti or loin clothes. And we also mentioned about the food, where the staple diet are 2 millets which are known as koda and kutki among the Gonds. And we studied, in fact we discussed that Gonds celebrate most festive occasions with songs and dance, and they paint designs in red and black on the walls of their house. We mentioned that Gonds also make musical instruments, and they are very good with wood carvings and all. And we also studied about the Tharu tribes, who are found also in Nepal and also in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Now we also mentioned the fact that Tharu tribes have become farmers and practice cultivation, and they produce crops like barley, wheat, maize, rice. And we also have talked about a little bit in detail about the Tharu tribe, where they use beautiful items to decorate their houses. And we also mentioned about the religious beliefs of the Tharu tribal community, which was they developed the practice of worshipping indigenous deities as well as of the other religion. And we also talked that they are accepting all other religion together with their own beliefs and practices. Amongst the Tharu society, we also mentioned about shamans who hold a place of prominence, and they are using their medicine from the Buddhist medicines for curing the diseases. And we also have heard a lot about other tribes that we talked in detail. So this is just a small recap. And now in today's session, we will continue with Raji tribe. Now about Raji tribes, Raji tribes in Uttar Pradesh are socially and economically the most underdeveloped tribes of central Himalaya regions of Uttar Pradesh. They are one of the several tribes found in India who live in the most underdeveloped conditions. They are also described as Van Rawat, that is king of the jungle, or Van Manush, wild man, and Van Raji, that is royal people of the jungle. They claim their origins from the Rajputs and considers themselves to be the original inhabitants of the central Himalayas. The Raji people are multilingual and speak language of Tibeto-Burmese family. They also use Hindi when communicating with other neighboring people. They use a Devanagari script. They are believed to be descendants of the Kirats who ruled the area in the prehistoric times. Vague ideas about the curative properties of herbs are known to every Raji. This knowledge of medicinal value of herbs and plants have passed down from generations to generations. Now the local medicine man gives treatment to the village people. Rajis are underdeveloped because of lack of education and poverty. Like several other tribes, these Raji tribes have got addiction towards all types of alcohol. Apart from this, the Raji tribes have also developed taste for several wild fruits and tree roots. Raji females have the fascination for colorful and gorgeous clothes. This is similar to the Raji tribes that we found in Uttarakhand, so not much of the similarities here. Exquisite jewelries that these Raji females wear are also quite large and heavy. However, as a recent phenomena, few of these Raji tribes dress in the similar fashion like that of a people who belong to a non-tribal community. This is exactly what we studied amongst the Raji tribes that are found in Uttarakhand. So of talking about the similarities, they are similar because when you talk about Uttarakhand also, it was part of Uttar Pradesh, then it was became an independent state, and so there are some bit of similarities. So it depends on just the kind of cultures and customs which they are using, and they are similar with the Raji tribe of Uttar Pradesh and Raji tribe of Uttarakhand. So we just mentioned that the men, they have fascination for alcohol, the women have fascination for colorful and gorgeous clothes, and they wear large and heavy jewelry. Now artistic fervor of these Raji tribes is nicely depicted in various art forms. For children, beautiful handbags are prepared which have got demand in the local market as well as that of the whole of the country. These Raji tribes converse with each other in Raji language. What is remarkable about these Raji tribes is that though they are ardent followers of Hindu religion, there is also plethora of local gods and goddesses whom they worship. Now, position of women in Raji tribal community is held high. In matters of marriage also, these Raji females have enough power and authority. And this is quite a unique practice because when you look at most of the communities, not only the tribal communities, be it the northern Indian community or the northeastern community or the western community, not many women have a lot of say in terms of particularly in India, like I'm talking about India. So when we talk about India, not many women, even the empowered women or the so-called independent women, have a lot of say in regards to marriage when it comes to listening to the parents, listening to what the society will think. So the authority, if a female is given enough power and authority over her marriage prospects or whom she wants to marry, well, that talks a lot about an independent features, or that talks a lot about the concept of empowerment among women. And this is what the Raji females have. So that is a very particular thing and a very interesting one at that. Now let us move ahead and understand about the other set of tribe known as the Jaunsari tribe. Among the multiple tribes found in Uttar Pradesh, this tribe, Jaunsari tribes, gets special mentioning as they enjoy the highest number of people. Jaunsari tribes share a very good relation with other tribes. One finds no difficulty in identifying a Jaunsari tribe who has got salient body features resembling that of both the Mongoloid as well as Indo-Aryan groups who has settled in the Himalayan provinces. To sustain their livelihood, majority of these Jaunsari tribal communities have taken up the profession of laborers who work diligently in the forest grounds or in farms of the rich people. Since they never owned large land, they could not adapt to cultivation. The entire society of Jaunsari tribes is divided into several castes, namely Koltas and Khasas, each having the unique traits and ethnicity, which as a whole constitutes the culture of the Jaunsari tribal community. It would not be an exaggeration to say that the culture of these Jaunsari tribes is quite ennobled. Rituals, customs, festivals, etc. bear a witness of this. Marriage also plays a vital part in the life of both Jaunsari male and female. Amongst the Jaunsari tribes, the practice of polyandry is in vogue. Festivals and fairs are an integral part of the people of Jaunsari tribal community. Bisu, a type of fair marking the harvesting, is quite a significant one. Song and dance are part and parcel of the life of these Jaunsari tribes. So we see that these Jaunsari tribes, among the other, just like the various other tribes found in all parts of India, they enjoy colorful lifestyle, they enjoy fairs and festivals, because when you look at the concept of fairs and festival, it is a concept where the society or the community comes together. People participate in these functions, in the songs and dance of their particular tribal community, and this is also an instance where there's a feeling of community, there's a bonding of brotherhood, of sisterhood, and the community as a whole, the tribal community to be particular, comes together and partake of the festivities, eat the same food which is being cooked for the entire community. So it gives rise to, in more ways than one, we could say, the feeling of brotherhood. And that is why there's a connection, there's a bond which is formed among the tribal people. So these fairs, these festivals, these religious festivities, or doing things in common together, is what brings all of them together, and that's what they enjoy. And one could even say that this is also a kind of an entertainment among the tribal communities, because in today's time we've got a lot of place where entertainment could be partake of, but especially if the tribal communities are from the forest areas, or not so educated, or not so empowered, or not so very rich community, then they have their festivals, their fairs, their religious ceremonies, or the marriages in which they have this small kind of entertainment, and it takes a whole time of their in terms of being able to meet other people, communicate with other people, apart from the daily nuances of life. Now in continuation about this Jaunsari tribe, both men and women dance with the rhythm of melodious songs and music, especially at the time of festivals and various social functions and affairs. And this kind of practice is about the other tribal people also from all over India, and not in particular about the Jaunsari tribes. So these Jaunsari tribes have developed faith on several deities. Mahasudevta is one of the principal deities whom each and every tribe of the Jaunsari community reveres. The devotees bring out a procession every year in the month of August, showing their reverence to Mahasudevta. Now, in terms of religion also, if you look at all the tribal groups all over India, everyone has their own ancestor worship practice which is going on, apart from the various kind of religion they may adopt. So they are encompassing to various religion. They are not very strict as to the fact that they have to worship, they have to follow Hinduism, Christianity, Buddhism, nothing of that sort. They follow religion, the major religion which is in India, but apart from that they have their ancestral worship also. So this talks a lot about the belief in the ancestors and how they the practice, the rites of passage and everything. So whatever they do is part of what is passed down from their parents, from their grandparents. So these are the kind of practices which most of the tribal communities they have been doing in all over India. Now with this, we have discussed about the Jaunsari tribes in Uttar Pradesh and the Raji tribes in today's session. Now before we end, I would like to have a little bit of recap about the tribes of Uttar Pradesh that we have done so far. So in today's session, we discussed about the Raji tribe and the Jaunsari tribes in detail. But in the first session and today's session, if we have to group together, I would like to inform you here that we discussed about the Buxa tribes, who are concentrated in several districts located in the southwestern part of the state of Uttar Pradesh. And the total population of the Buxa tribe, let's say, is approximately a little bit more than 4,000. We also mentioned about the Gonds, who are a Dravidian tribes, and these Gonds are among the largest tribal population or the largest tribal group in South Asia. We also discussed about the Tharus, who are one of the largest tribal community found in the state of Uttar Pradesh. They reside in the interiors of jungles, and due to which they have not been influenced by the outer world. We also highlighted about the Raji tribes, who are socially and economically the most underdeveloped tribes of Central Himalayas region of Uttar Pradesh. They are one of the several tribes found in India who live in the most underdeveloped condition. We also mentioned that among the multiple tribes found in Uttar Pradesh, Jaunsari tribes get special attention as they enjoy the highest number of people. So we could say that they enjoy the highest number of population of tribal people. So the Jaunsari tribes have the highest number of the population, and these tribes share a very good relations with other tribes. Now before we end, I would like to sum up the entire session that we have done in small words. So in these sessions and in the previous sessions, we learned about the tribes found in Uttarakhand, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. So let us have a small sum up of the entire session. In studying the various tribes of Rajasthan, we observe that these tribal communities, although different in their origins and classification within the tribes, have a lot of common features to share. They are indeed a land-owning group of people and adhere to agriculture as their main form of occupation. In the previous session and in the particular session, we observed that the tribes of Rajasthan share some similarities in their language, tradition, origin and traditional attires. Besides being influenced by several climatic, economic and social conditions, these tribes share a common integral part as a community in their festivities, dances, attires and occupations. The study of the tribal communities in Uttarakhand helps us to understand that India as a whole has a lot to offer in terms of culture and its people. Uttarakhand, on the other hand, is a state that has a very deep and culturally rooted past of several kinds of tribes and people. The 5 major tribal groups of Uttarakhand are different and specific to their own community and constitute different forms of lifestyle and occupation. These major tribes in the state of Uttarakhand have their origin to be traced with the earlier Indo-Aryan inhabitants in the Indian subcontinent and are basically inhabitants of forest areas of the state. Now, all the sessions that you have done today also dealt with the socio-economic, cultural and livelihood practices among the tribes found in Uttar Pradesh. Still, some of the tribes in Uttar Pradesh depend on agriculture for their livelihood, and each tribe have distinct traditional practices and festivals which are both beautiful and colorful. The tribe also has a distinct dialect which binds them together, and their religious practice as well as the rituals of marriage and family life is as distinct. Now, after studying through this session and after listening to the discussions, you may have been more aware about the tribes of these regions and their characteristics, and I do hope that you have been able to make a distinction between the tribes found in Rajasthan, Uttarakhand as well as in Uttar Pradesh. Having said so, there are few of the tribes which are found in Uttarakhand, similar tribes which are found in Uttarakhand, Rajasthan as well as in Uttar Pradesh. Now some of these tribes, let's say for example the Raji tribes found in Uttarakhand as well as in Uttar Pradesh, they are similar. Their customs, their religious beliefs, their practices, their attires are similar in both of the states. So we can say that they are similar, but definitely there might be some dissimilarities because in terms of the practices, in terms of their rituals. So when you talk about the various tribal communities even in the Northeast, so one community, the even for example the Naga community, in the earlier sessions you must have heard that most of the Naga community are different. The Lotha, the Angami, the Sema, they all speak Nagamese, but each and every region have a different dialect. So similarly in Manipur also, in Meghalaya, in Sikkim, in other parts of India, we have these tribal communities which are found in other states, the same tribal community found in other states, but they have the similarities but as well as their dissimilarities. So most of the tribal groups that we discussed about in Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan, they may be found in all the three states, but these tribal communities in all the three states have similarities, and yet they also have dissimilarities in some form or the other. So this is the difference that you have to understand, and if there are similarities, you have studied about it and you have heard about it, and also the dissimilarities as well. And in today's session, I hope you are able to have a good learning experience where we talked about the tribals in Rajasthan, Uttarakhand as well as in Uttar Pradesh. Thank you so much.